With Galbrena and Lupa getting banners soon, there is a lot of attention on the fusion element. And I would like to take this excuse to talk about one of the most ridiculous duos in the entire game. One that if you just have these two characters, you can throw basically any fusion character into the mix, and you're almost guaranteed to clear endgame content. And I'm obviously talking about the Brant and Lupa combination. This duo of characters is ridiculously strong, and I kinda feel like I need to talk about it more. So that's what this video is about. And if you haven't guessed already, the combination I'm talking about is going to be Brant and Lupa. Now, why is this combination of characters so powerful? What is it with Brant and Lupa specifically that makes it so you can throw in any fusion character and do well? Well, first of all, let's talk a bit about each individual character and what their strengths are. Starting with Brant, because I like him more. I would say I don't make the rules, but I quite literally do, so deal with it. Now, what makes Brant so powerful? Let's just get it out of the way, and talk about the fact that this dude's damage is kind of ludicrous if you think about it. Sure, Yuno has a higher damage profile, assuming they are getting the same amount of buffs. But here's the thing, they're not. They are not getting the same amount of buffs. When you're putting Brant in a team with Lupa and another fusion character, Brant is getting a ridiculous amount of buffing that Yuno just can't get at the current moment. So Brant is currently the sub DPS with the highest damage potential in the entire game, with most of it being centered around his anchor nuke, which, well, it's got a pretty good AoE to it, and the only real issue is that sometimes he just whiffs. So yeah, when we're talking about the sheer damage output of the team, Brant already has you covered. It's got good AoE too, and well, if we are playing before the version 2.8 update, you're still capable of abusing the utility wheel to kill multiple waves of enemies. Obviously, his Ultra skill giving 20% fusion damage amplification also kinda helps. A simple 20% damage amplification for the next fusion character is already pretty good, and if they do skill damage, it's just even better. But even for characters like Galbrena, who basically don't do any skill damage, you're still looking at a pretty decent buff here. And for all of the people who aren't that good at dodging, Brant also helps you out in that regard, because he has defensive utility. Not only does he heal your characters, he also gives a big shield that's basically gonna cover half your health bar. So when it comes to defensive utility, Brant's got you covered there. You don't need a character like a Shorekeeper, and you don't need to get good. You can just keep playing the way you have been playing, because Brant will keep you safe. So to recap, ridiculous damage output that also has good AoE, a pretty decent amount of buffing for whoever the next character is, and then also being able to sustain your team. Now what makes Lupa good? Well, if you've watched my pros and cons video, you kinda already know the gimmick here. Lupa's buffing is ridiculous. Out of any character in the game, it is my belief that Lupa has the highest amplification out of any character, because she just has so much buffing. It never ends with this woman. So to recap every single buff in her kit, she has 6% attack stacking up to 3 times, so a maximum of 18%. She allows you to ignore 15% of enemy fusion resistance. She has up to 20% fusion damage bonus in her kit. Her signature set gives 15% fusion damage bonus, her signature weapon gives 24% fusion damage bonus as well, and then her Ultra skill gives 20% fusion and 25% basic attack damage amplification. This is so much I can't even quantify it, especially if you're pairing her with Brant. I've talked enough about how Brant does very high damage. Even when we're talking about without buffs, Brant has the second highest damage output out of every sub DPS. But because we're giving him so much crack in the form of Lupa's ridiculous amount of buffing, he gets to take that top spot. It's honestly just kind of unfair. And while that Ultra skill may not be benefiting someone like a Galbrena in your team, I can tell you everything else there is. 59% damage bonus, 18% attack, 15% fusion ignore, that is an amount of buffing that it's really hard to explain to you just how strong that is. Like, if you want to understand how good this character's buffing is, a Chongli, Brant, and Shorekeeper combination is going to be a pretty okay team. Like, it's gonna clear most endgame content. Put a Lupa in there instead of Shorekeeper, suddenly you're shredding the game. The current tower, floor 4, on the middle tower, you know, the one with a fusion-resistant boss, I cleared that with the Mono Fusion team, with Chongli on Blood Pact Pledge. Lupa's buffs are ridiculous, and if that wasn't enough, Lupa also has pretty good personal damage. Even if she's not getting buffed by a Chongli Ultra skill, your Lupa is still going to be getting around over 300,000 damage per rotation, assuming she's on her signature weapon. Without it, you can expect around 250,000, which is still a pretty decent amount, because, well, all of those buffs that I kinda talked about and why they're so broken and stuff, yeah, Lupa gets them too. So, yeah, she's doing a pretty good amount of damage too. So to recap what Lupa does, a sheer ridiculous amount of buffing, as well as just having good personal damage. So you can kinda see here how this combination of a ridiculous nuclear bomb, who is also keeping your team alive, and someone who gives your team so much buffs that it could honestly count as a steroid, would be a pretty good core no matter what third character you put in there. As long as they're fusion for Lupa's buffs, and as long as their damage output is at least a little bit okay, you've got yourself a team that's able to clear almost all content in the entire game. And that is lowballing. You should honestly be able to clear basically anything if your characters have good builds. Now obviously a lot of Brant's damage output is kind of locked behind his weapon, which is one of the biggest things that are against Brant's favor. But if you have Brant, chances are you got his signature weapon, because every single YouTuber and every single guide made it very clear that Brant's signature weapon is a really big deal. I was one of the people who was kinda advocating to, if you're getting Brant, please get his signature weapon as well. If you have both Brant and Lupa, honestly just do a test. Go into tower, go to like the 3rd floor tower, because well 4th does have a Dragon of Dursion there, but go to like the 3rd floor of tower, and then bring like a Brant, Lupa, and a Mortefi in there. And you're gonna see, you're clearing that with relative ease, because the Brant and Lupa combination is ridiculously powerful. This duo of characters, I believe, is going to be the biggest damage to Choyuan sales. Choyuan is going to be a sub DPS for Galbrena, and Galbrena is a fusion character, which means that she has access to this broken combination of characters. I can see a lot of people not pulling for Choyuan, purely because Brant and Lupa exist, even if you don't want Galbrena. Lupa and Brant are an incredible combination to make sure that whatever fusion character comes out in the future, you will have a viable team for them. I don't think this is going to be changing anytime soon, because Brant just has that much damage, and Lupa just has that much buffing. I don't think it's a perfect combination, of course. Power creeping this duo is quite possible, but I don't see it happening for quite a long time. You'd honestly don't even need to pair another fusion character with this team for it to be good. You can literally throw in Shorekeeper and play main DPS Brant with Lupa as the buffer, and you've still got yourself an amazing team on your hands. I cannot urge you enough, if you like fusion as an element, getting the Brant and Lupa combination could be one of the best things you could do for your entire account. If fusion is your long-term goal, really, I do suggest picking up both of these characters. Lupa's coming back soon, and knowing Brant's banner schedule, he's probably going to be back in another 2 patches. But what do you think of this combination of characters? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, be sure to join my Discord, which is linked in the description. If you just want to see more of me, check out my second channel, which is also linked in the description. I don't really post that consistently, but I can't just make videos about whatever I feel like. But that'll be all from me. Peace.